Hello Bushnell students, welcome to week 6. This week we have a number of learning objectives from chapter 12, and this is what we're working on. We're working on explaining lean production and lean principles. We're going to look at inventory pull systems. We're going to understand the basics, the very basics of the Toyota production system. You might have heard the term TPS. At least in the world of manufacturing, TPS means Toyota Production System. We're going to look at the basics of lean supply chain management, also called value chain management. And we're going to look at the basics of how a Kanban system works. Plus, we're going to look at an application of lean principles in a service industry that I'm familiar with. So this will be like an application that I'll show you that we've worked on where I work. So you've undoubtedly heard of lean manufacturing, I'm sure, somewhere in your career by now. And this week we're going to take a look at part of just those lean concepts and study them at a higher level. So the two basic fundamentals that you need to understand about lean principles is that lean focuses on eliminating waste in the business process. Doesn't matter if it's a manufacturing process, retail process, or other service industry. One of my sons works in the medical field. They work on removing waste out of their process in the medical field. Lean focuses on removing 7 different types of waste that's found in almost any sort of industry. The other thing that we're looking at, the second component, is lean focuses on respecting people. That is, companies implementing lean principles do strive for lifetime employment, level payrolls, shared bonuses, and more even workflow throughout the day. People working in organizations implementing lean principles are viewed as assets by management. I know that sounds cliche, but they really are considered as assets by management, not just a cog in the wheel. One of the videos attached in this week at 10 Tabs talks about the importance of respecting people. In lean manufacturing, there are 7 different streams of waste, and other people have identified a few more as well on top of this, but these are the primary 7 that receive focus. And check out the link I provide in the required tab for this week for a discussion about this. So one of them is called overproduction, which results from making too much inventory too early. The waste of waiting happens when people are staying around doing nothing. Transportation occurs when material has to be moved between workstations or between stations where you work or even cubicles. Inventory, too much inventory on hand. Remember, inventory is your money sleeping. It's kind of funny way to think about it, but it is money sleeping. That's what inventory is. So you want to minimize the inventory. This form of waste goes hand in hand with overproduction. Processing waste, too many processing steps to accomplish the task. The waste of motion happens when people are required to do a lot of walking, bending, lifting, stretching just to get something done. And then there's the waste of defects and that occurs when scrap or non-conforming material is built, and this can happen in an office setting or an administrative setting as well. In service, this would be a bad or low quality service delivered to the customer, for example. Some have even added like this 8th waste, which is identified as over-design. This happens when the design significantly overachieves the intended specification. It'd be like designing and manufacturing a large, expensive titanium hammer just to drive in a small nail, when all you need is a small, simple, inexpensive hammer. It's that kind of a thought. An inventory pull system is also reviewed this week in your text. Most inventory systems are push systems. Just remember, push is bad, okay? That is, based on customer forecasts, the inventory management system will blindly forecast all the needs within the planning window, order the material, deliver the material to the plant. Without a pull system in place, with this push system, the inventory can then just sit and wait to be processed. Again, inventory sitting is money sleeping. But in a pull system, which is more in line with a lean manufacturing or lean principle thought, signals are generated to all the upstream processes by the shipping dock as the finished goods are shipped out to the customer. So for example, 1 unit of product shipped to the customer generates a signal, a Kanban, to the upstream processes that 1 unit is shipped. So please build another unit is basically what it's saying. Once the unit gets shipped out to the customer, a signal goes back, build another one for me. This happens all the way back up to the receiving dock where the raw inventory is received. In this system, inventory is pulled as needed from the receiving dock, pulled from the receiving dock through the process to the shipping dock. Now listen, mature companies, we've talked about MRP, mature companies that have been doing MRP and Lean for some time, they figured out how to marry those two systems together so that they work in concert with each other. Adopting Lean principles, companies who adopt Lean principles, they rarely talk about their supply chain without referring to it as a value chain. Think about it like this. In a Lean company, it is expected that value is added to the product or service all along the process. Even the suppliers must be focused on reducing waste and adding value in their plants before delivering the product to the customer. Everyone in the process, from the raw material to the final product or the service being delivered to the customer, is adding value. Thus the name value chain, not just supply chain. One of the Lean tools that's often used to show the entire value stream is called, oddly enough, a value stream map. Value stream maps are a great visual on how inventory flows, what the processing steps are, and the control mechanisms. Value stream maps are also used to identify all the waste in the process and potential workshops called Kaizen events to make those improvements. Now, in my days in manufacturing and in the service industry, I've got plenty of experiences in creating and using value stream maps. In this slide, it's just an example of a value stream map in a service industry where we put people to work. We have several service branches in Michigan and now in Tennessee. And I'm not going to take you through the details here, but I think you can see it's a map of our service delivered and how applications and our inventories, and you can see it's messy. Messy is fine as long as it's readable. We use this map to help us make improvements at the branches. Okay, listen, that's it for now. Please be sure to read all of Chapter 12. This week, there's an online exam quiz covering Chapters 5, 9, and 12 on project management, MRP, and Lean supply chains, value chains. All right, be sure to watch this week's devotional and catch all the required attend tabs. And remember, God is on his throne. He's always been there, and he's always going to be.